everybody, Jatt here with another edition of League of Learning, the first one of the 2016 season, because there were a lot of changes. Too many changes probably to cover in a single episode, so I wanted to talk about the changes that impact the pacing of the game. Games are going to be shorter. There are longer death timers, which contributes to that. There is also a Rift Herald, which will contribute along with shorter games to having fewer 5 dragons. And as a reference point, the average game time in 2015 Summer NALCS was 39 minutes and 8 seconds. I think that's going down by at least 2 minutes. First change I want to dive into is the death timers. These are relative differences between the old season and the new. The big difference on this graph is at 34 minutes, death timers are a full 24% longer. This is slightly mitigated by the fact that everyone gets the home guard bonus post 20 minutes, but it basically means that if someone is dead, they're dead for much longer, which means it's easier to end the game or take deep turrets within their base. Another big change is all of the turrets. The outer turret is a little bit more durable in the game. It starts the game exactly as durable as the old season and then slowly scales up. But after that, every turret gets weaker. Inner turrets, inhibitor turrets, and nexus turrets. And the later into the game, the more durable they become, but they never reach the same durability that they had last season. The inner turrets in particular also don't have the shield on them anymore, so they die much faster. Basically, this means you will see more games with an outer turret longer, or an outer turret staying up longer, and another lane having 2, maybe 3 turrets, or even an inhibitor dead, because if you get the snowball started on turrets and no one stops the push, you can go all the way through, which I think creates some diverse games. Also, there's the Rift Herald. It is the opposite to Dragon before 20 minutes into the game. When you kill it, it drops a buff. You can pick it up for 10% increased damage, 40 movement speed, an improved recall, and then it also empowers minions when you're near them, much like Baron buff. It just doesn't give them any extra durability. So I expect teams to use the global gold from this and the Doom's Eve buff to push down early turrets in lanes that can't clear the wave well, because then you can get a lot of work done and you force a lot of pressure coming up through that way. Also, it's harder to take than Dragon. You better bring some friends, so it's a little bit of a tricky objective, but it will definitely take away from Total Dragon. So in closing, we will have shorter games because of Rift Herald and the games being shorter. The 5 dragon frequency will be greatly decreased. I also wonder about the viability of any type of late game team composition, because turrets will fall easier, Rift Herald will help that, people will be dead for longer, and it's much harder to stall for the late game, which means more early game turret rushing, and also a pretty strong possibility of more double AD compositions. That fits in with earlier finishes to games, faster turret pushing, and more importantly, you can run Kindred in the jungle, Quinn in top lane, Ezreal or Corki mid lane. There are so many different variations of the double AD composition that I think we're going to see a lot of it. So that does it for the shorter games of 2016. I hope you learned something.